Hello everybody, my name is Xaphan, and welcome back to some more Everlasting Summer, and we're back. We're doing Ulyana's little trail here, there, and everywhere. And I have the rest of the, the things to follow through from, you guessed it, F-22 Raptor, my boy, my dude, my man in Russia. Okay, so we went to the building. And now, the next one isn't till the next day. So, without further ado, the inside of the old camp building made an even more depressing impression. I even felt sad for it for a moment, or probably for the people who lived here back then. It surely had been full of the joy of children in the past. Pioneers ran around, played games I'd forgotten. A strict leader like Olga maintained order. One session ended and a new one started. Now it's just standing here, crumbling, rotting, forgotten. Look! Ulyana gave me an old ruined doll falling apart from the damp. One more piece from the past. So what? Nothing. She moved out of light, but I noticed sorrow on her face. As sad as the cemetery. Scary! I haven't seen anything scary yet. It was indeed more relaxing in here than outside. It really was like a cemetery, as you look for a specific grave while walking among countless tombstones, feeling discomfort inside, but then you find it, and your soul calms as you lie next to it. I shuddered and let the flashlight play around the room. There was no sign of Shurk. However, what did I expect to find here? His corpse? Looks like he isn't here. What about the second floor? Shurk! I called out loudly, but only my echo answered me. Shurk! Come out! Come out, Shurk! See? We should check anyway. Okay, we will. We'll check it out. I really don't like this lolly character. I don't know what's with people's big ideas with lollies. It's really weird. There were no signs of life on the second floor either. I sat on the stairs and hung my head, feeling doomed. Where to next? I can't walk around the whole forest, and I'm already sleepy. Why do you whine so much? Ulyana was irritated. Whining and whining just like a kid. Oh, am I wrong? Right or wrong, what's the difference? If we're looking for Shurk, we must find him. But how? I begged. I don't know, somehow. Ulyana looked like a strict teacher and myself like a careless schoolboy. But shouldn't it be the other way around? Look! I turned the light in the direction she pointed and noticed a trap door in the corner, surrounded by garbage. It looked like it had been opened not so long ago. He must be down there for sure! Maybe. Ulyana rushed to the hatch and made a great effort to open it. Why would he go down there? It was probably, I don't know, some villagers. Is there a village nearby? I don't know. Ulyana replied, breathing heavily. She hadn't managed to open the trapdoor. I started thinking. There was surely a possibility that Shurk might be there. I didn't know much about this world after all. Actually, I knew nothing, like Jon Snow. We should call the local residents that act accordingly to my logic. Could it be that he tried to escape down there, running away from wolves? Are there any wolves though? Maybe owls? Okay, let's check it out. I strained my muscles and managed to open the trapdoor. It crashed loudly on the cracked wooden floor, and at the same moment, Ulyana leaned over the hatchway, lighting up the basement with the flashlight. It's some sort of tunnel! A tunnel? I pulled her back by the scruff of the neck to look in there myself. Hey! Curiosity killed the cat. There was indeed a long tunnel running into the darkness. It looked more like a dungeon from a computer game. There wasn't any danger at first sight. No waist-deep water, no rats, no zombies. Okay, let's climb down there to look, but be careful.
Roger that.
Ulyana beamed. Fuck. He said be careful, yo. It was really dark down there. The flashlight did little to help. It dimly illuminated concrete walls, lamps hanging from the ceiling, entangled in wires, and garbage abundantly covering the floor. We slowly moved forward. I held Ulyana's hand, fearing she would run ahead of me. Probably I was a bit worried about myself too, not wanting to be alone in this thick darkness. Maybe we should go back. Sure, it couldn't have gone far.
What if he had a flashlight?
Well, even with a flashlight, what would he be doing here?
I don't know. Aren't you interested in what lies ahead?
I think I'm sort of moving into more of Alyssa's voice there. Not a bit. I'm more interested in... I didn't finish the sentence. A massive metal door suddenly appeared before us as if from thin air. Thin air! I instantly noticed the biohazard sign. It's a radioactive symbol, not a biohazard sign. A bomb shelter? I realized.
Probably!
Have you heard anything about it?
I don't know. Does it matter?
Does it? What if there is radiation?
What radiation? Where from?
Yes, you're right. I took hold of the door's wheel and tried to move it. It yielded, to my surprise, and groaned like a dying dinosaur. The door opened. See, it was quite similar. The door opened at last, and Ulyana ran in there as soon as it did. Hey! Behind the door was probably the main shelter room. There were several beds next to me, some devices near the farthest walls, lockers, fluorescent lamps on the ceiling brightly illuminated the room. Where does the electricity come from? Are there backup generators still working? I turned off the flashlight to save the battery. Smart! Very smart! Ulyana started to rummage in the lockers at once, taking out gas mask packages and various tools. Don't you have anything better to do?
No.
She looked at me with displeasure. I sat on the neatly made bed and looked around one more time. Right across the room from me was a door, same as the one we entered. Could Shirk have gone through there? If he was here at all, and why?
Why the long face?
Just tired. I honestly confessed.
Then rest for a while.
Ulyana jumped at me and pushed me in the chest. I reeled back in surprise and hit my head against the wall. What are you doing? I grabbed her arms and pulled her towards me. She lost her balance and fell next to me.
Ouch!
You started this. Ulyana stuck out her tongue and sat up. Well, what's next?
There, the other door!
Oh, sure. Shirk predicted a nuclear war and decided to hide beforehand, did he?
Maybe he did.
Maybe. This shelter is too close to the surface. It could protect against the radiation, but if the bombs fell close enough...
You're so serious about these matters.
She smirked. I really didn't know when to be serious with her and when to joke. It seems like the age difference between us really matters here. Probably, hey! How big is it? 10 years? More? I sighed and stood up from the bed. Okay, let's try. But that door was less compliant than the first one. The bolts creaked, but the wheel didn't budge a centimeter. Seems jammed.
Let me!
What the fuck is she gonna do? Ulyana rushed at the door with the crowbar she got who knows where and applied herself to it with all of her unimpressive weight. I'm sorry, what? That gave us a chance. I helped her, and soon the door fell to the floor with a bang. The hinges turned out to be completely rusted. Seems that not everything was made to last back then. Behind the door there was a tunnel, almost the same as the one we had come through here. Don't do anything stupid. I took Ulyana by the hand and stepped out of the room. It was another endless tunnel. The ceiling seemed to become lower even though I logically realized that it did not change. Ulyana didn't seem to be bothered at all, though she was humming as she walked. It annoyed me more and more. Looks like you're having fun.
Of course I am, aren't you?
No, I don't see any reason to have fun. We should find Shurk quickly and get out of here.
He may not be here at all.
Then why the hell? Look! Ulyana snatched a flashlight from my hand. There was a huge hole in the ground a couple of meters in front of us.
He may be down there.
She walked to the edge and leaned.
Some rails.
It looks like there was a mine under this tunnel. The depth of the hole was low enough to let us climb out of it, so I knew that Ulyana would say next.
Come on!
I wanted to object, but she had jumped down, leaving me in complete darkness. Hey! I had to follow her. I don't know what they dug for here, but the mine had been abandoned for a long time. The planks had become damp, the rails rusted, earth broke through the walls in some places. The whole tunnel leading into the unknown was suspicious. It looked like it was about to collapse and bury us.
Come on!
Ulyana desperately pulled on my arm. Where to? Why? What would Shurk be doing here?
What if...
She made a serious face.
What if he's sitting here somewhere, injured and waiting for help? We just turn around and go, leave him to die.
I estimated the height of the ceiling one more time and walked slowly after the restless Ulyana. Oh god. Soon we reached a fork.
Let's go to the right.
Wait. I grabbed her arm.
What's the matter?
What if it's a dead end, or worse than a dead end, a whole labyrinth?
Well,
she thought.
Then let's mark the starting point.
Ulyana picked up a large stone from the ground and scratched across. Do you think that will help? Well, that helped the other 3 times now, didn't it?
It will.
Probably I'll have to choose where to go. I just can't leave it to a little girl. Okay, so we go right, and then we go left, and then we go right again, and then we go left again, and then we go right again, and then we go left again. At last, the ray of the flashlight revealed an old wooden door in the darkness.
Here we are.
Where?
Somewhere. I don't know.
But she was right about something. At least we've gotten out of that damn labyrinth. After all these turns and forks, I wasn't sure that we'd ever make it back, but on the other hand, why wouldn't this mine have any exits? Ulyana opened the door and stared into the darkness. So, you won't go first as usual?
Well,
okay. I stepped over the threshold. A small room was beyond the door, maybe a storage room for a bomb shelter. There were bottles, cigarette stubs, which means that somebody had been here before us. It wasn't an encouraging fact by itself, but now I was certain that there was another exit from the mine, since they couldn't have come the same way as we did. The ray of light moved around the room, examining every corner. Suddenly it lit up a human figure. It was Shurk, huddling up against one of the walls. Hey, there you are. We've been looking for you all night. For all night, and you... It seemed he hadn't even noticed us, just sitting and mumbling something. Shurk!
Who's that, brah?
What do you mean, who? Your rescue team? Get up and let's go.
I won't go anywhere with you, brah,
he mumbled.
You'll lead me around these tunnels again. I know. I won't go anywhere, brah. I'll stay right here, brah. You won't get me, brah.
Stop with your nonsense. Looks like he's gone completely insane.
No, brah. You won't trick me this time, brah.
Stop it already. I took a few steps towards Shurk, but he jumped up at once and whipped a metal rod.
Don't come near me, brah. Leave me alone, brah.
Calm down. It's me, Semyon. Don't you recognize me?
Semyon? No, you aren't Semyon, brah.
I noticed that Ulyana, who's standing next to me, had disappeared somewhere.
You're not Semyon, and I am going to bra you into the brawness.
In trembling light, Shurk's hand had appeared for a moment, wielding the metal rod. I covered my head instinctively. Nothing. When I opened my eyes, he had already disappeared. Ulyana stood next to me and giggled, holding the metal rod.
Just like a scout.
Yeah, a scout. From somewhere far off, the devilish laughter of Shurk was heard.
He ran away.
Screw him, I don't care if he dies here. I spat on the floor and leaned against the wall. If it hadn't been for Ulyana, I wasn't prepared for that. Shirk might not have killed me, but he could have seriously injured me. To be left lying here, injured, would be equivalent to my death. We don't know when help will arrive. And would they be able to find me in this labyrinth? Why the hell did I agree to come here, indulging that girl?
You look like you're going to kill somebody.
If a good candidate presents itself. Ulyana shuddered. No, not you. It might be nice to spank you, but there is no reason to kill you, and please don't say that ever again. She smirked. Yet.
Oh, you.
Okay, it is definitely time to get out of here. They can send their special forces, rescue teams, Ghostbusters, whatever tomorrow. I don't care.
Will we go back?
I looked around the room once again and noticed a door to my left. Wow. The door was just like in the bomb shelter.
It was just like in the bomb shelter. A massive one, bruv. Yes, it was. A metal one, bruv. There we go. I kinda have a good British accent.
I pulled the wheel a couple of times, but it just creaked dully. If I only had that crowbar.
It doesn't work?
Ulyana asked me in a depressed voice. No. Actually, I didn't have any strength left. In another situation, I would strain myself, ask Ulyana to help, look for something to use as a lever, but now I just wanted to get out of this mine. I wanted to hope that there was a path of least resistance for us to take. Fuck me, I'm fucking this up. And that meant hoping that I remembered the way through the labyrinth. Let's just go back.
Okay.
She smiled and took my hand. We walked even slower on the way back through the labyrinth. Stones scattered under our feet, water dripping from the ceiling onto our hands, feeling the drops of molten tin. Ulyana quietened down and followed me in silence. Did something happen?
What do you mean?
It's strange for you to be quiet for more than a minute.
No, everything's alright.
But something was wrong for sure. What is it? One fork after another. A minute ago I was certain that at the next corner I would see the cross Ulyana had scratched before. I was wrong. My faith in my ability to guide us was melting away with each second. Well, whatever. I decided to distract myself with the conversation.
It's alright, it's just...
What?
It all went so wrong. With Shirk. And now we're stuck here.
You saved my life. You should be proud of yourself. I tried to encourage her, but Ulyana didn't seem to get it.
But if I had taken his metal rod away, he might have stayed.
Whether he'd stayed or not, what's the difference now? We'd still have to get out from here, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but...
Everything's alright. That psycho will find a way out for sure. I was really sure about that. Finally, we came to a long tunnel on the wall of which was the cross. Ulyana cheered up a bit, and we almost ran the rest of the way to the surface. You see? The full moon shined above us again, and the building of the old camp didn't look nearly so ominous before. Especially in comparison to the bomb shelter and the catacombs.
That was cool, wasn't it?
Looks like Ulyana's gotten her usual cheerfulness back. I'm not too sure about cool, but I'm glad we got out.
So, shall we go and look for Shirk?
What? I was speechless for a moment, unable to even finish the sentence. Are you crazy? We already found him. Tomorrow Olga and the police can go down there and catch that fucking caveman to run tests on him.
Well...
No wells, back to the camp, to sleep. I walked rapidly from that dreadful place, ignoring the furious Ulyana. Within 10 minutes, we were already back at the square. Okay, that's all for today. Dismiss, soldier! Ulyana saluted and was about to leave when she suddenly yelled and started to excitedly wave her hands. Look, look! I turned to the benches and saw Shirk lying on one of them. Oh my god! It was really hard to wake him up, as if the caveman had decided to sleep for a year beforehand.
What? Where am I, brah?
He mumbled in his sleep. Do you want to explain yourself now?
Explain what? We've been looking for you all night, and you jumped at Simeon with a metal rod and then ran away.
Ulyana jumped around the bench, ready to explode.
What happened, brah? And why am I here, brah?
Shurk seemed to come to his senses. Oh, do be so kind as to explain that. How did you get out of the mine? Why did you go in there in the first place? Everything, step by step.
What mine, brah?
There was such a sincere surprise in his eyes that I started to doubt. He really might not remember anything. Where have you been for the last 12 hours?
I don't know, brah.
Shurk sat and his face frowned with the effort of thinking.
I went to the old camp in the morning. People say there was some old equipment there, brah. For parts for the robot, and...
He stared at us in confusion. And
that's all, brah.
So you don't remember?
I don't.
Okay. I sat next to him and leaned back on the bench. The stars shone brightly in the sky. They remember everything. Even what Shurk was doing in the bomb shelter. Post-traumatic shock.
What? Such symptoms are experienced by people after heavy stress, brah.
After a disaster, for example? Shurk remarked with a smart look on his face. You should sleep now.
Yes, but...
We'll speak tomorrow. Shurk looked at me for some time, but then he got up and slowly walked to his cabin without saying a word.
So what is it with him?
He probably forgot everything that happened in the mine.
He's lying.
Look, why would he have to lie?
So he wouldn't have to answer for when he tried to attack you with a metal rod?
She said uncertainly. Doesn't look like it. Does it matter now?
It does. We must find out. The criminal must be punished.
If that rule was applied to you, you would have been placed under house arrest a long time ago, or worse.
What does that have to do with this? I don't leap at people with a rod.
It wasn't intentional.
He's lying.
He may be lying. I was really exhausted after today, especially this night. I really didn't care whether Shurk was speaking the truth or just pretending to. It really looks like he doesn't remember anything. I'm going to sleep now.
Then...
Ulyana jumped up and stood on her tiptoes.
Good night.
You too. I don't know. Seemed like there was something special in the expression of her face for that moment. I didn't care. Oh, fuck. Why? The camp leader had been waiting for me at home.
I thought you wouldn't come back.
I would have expected any reaction from Olga, except that one.
Since you went with Ulyana,
aren't you supposed to worry about us?
Why should I? You're okay.
Oh, okay then. I had neither the strength nor the will to argue with the leader or to find out the reasons for her behavior. I took my clothes off and crawled under the blanket. It's all too much for a single person. Looking for Shurk in the dungeons was a job for search and rescue professionals. Doing it with Ulyana was certified madman. But it was fun, in a way. It was fun. I fell asleep with a smile on my face. And then it's day number 5. We're almost there. Okay, I will be back. Okay, I am back, my fellow pioneers. And we ran. So I think the first thing we gotta do is... Okay, we gotta go to the clubhouse. And I think I've already done all this, and... Okay, I have to refuse. No wire for you. Enough already. And I've already done all that. And... Okay, this one does not matter, so we'll just go with Slavia. Thanks to the girl's help. And that's nothing as well, so I guess we'll go to the infirmary. And then the library. And I'll stay on guard with Alyssa. Come, you keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. Do nothing, just stay seated. And go to Ulyana. I didn't think about Ulyana that evening at all. That thing with the cake, like it didn't even happen. Though I remembered well her resentful, disappointed face. Maybe in some other situation, I would never have decided to go to her, but now a fine reason to leave this place and end this stupid hike has appeared. Recalling that Olga had told me to be prepared for new tasks, I decided not to ask for her permission, and after choosing a proper moment, I disappeared into the woods. Night fell on the camp. I mentally thanked the camp leader for not researching the land too well, since this meant civilization was only a few hundred meters away. Another long walk through the night forest was not in my plans. Soon I came to the square and hesitated. Would it look silly? Why would I tell Ulyana? Moreover, why would I go see her in the first place? My head was so heavy and full that there was no room in it for the development of any ideas. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway, thinking about stuff, so it's better not to think about anything and just act. But where should I go? Maybe to her cabin? What if she's not there? All of a sudden, something knocked me down and I fell to the asphalt. It's a good thing I had time to stretch my arms, otherwise I would have broken my nose. Gotcha! I quickly got up from the ground and saw Ulyana standing before me. What are you doing? I couldn't stop myself from shouting despite my best efforts. You shouldn't be stargazing! She answered viciously. What if I had smashed my nose or had broken my arm? I said more calmly. Well, neither of those happened. Look, why do you always mock me? But I'm a smartass like that as well. Like one time at work, they were filling in cracks in concrete because you know concrete cracks every now and then due to ground shifting. And I touched the filler when it was dry, and one of the managers turned to me and they said, "Come on, man, what the hell? What if that were wet?" And I turned to him and I said, "What if Hitler won the war?" He didn't, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, it was hilarious. I already regret my decision to try and ease her loneliness. Was today's punishment not enough for you? Can you even draw simple conclusions? It's entirely your fault. The smile instantly disappeared from Ulyana's face. What exactly is my fault? Everything! You mean I'm to blame for all the time? Yes! She crossed her hands in front of her chest and turned away. Great. I suddenly wanted to get away from this place as fast as possible. But it was because of you I came here. What? I guess you were quite bored, given that everybody is hiking and you're alone here. I don't care! She yelled cheerfully. Well, if things are that way, what do you want to do? What do you mean? Well, if you came here because of me... Such a thought hadn't occurred to me, although I don't really know what I came here for. Maybe to be a pedophile. After such a greeting, I no longer wanted to do anything. Then it's up to me to choose, said Ulyana cheerfully and started to think. I stared at her for some time, but then couldn't stand it. Listen, if you're again planning to... I know! Let's scare the others. We'll dress up as ghosts, for example. It's gonna be so fun! I didn't find this funny in any way. Enough of that already. I began tiredly, but broke off. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. After all, by the time she thinks it over and gathers all she needs, Olga and the Pioneers will already be back. If I came here because of Ulyana, then I need to play along. Perhaps you're right. What? She was looking at me with her eyes wide open. Are you going to agree just like that? Well, what's so wrong about that? And furthermore, if you insist. She studied me attentively for several seconds, then rattled off. Excellent! Then we need some bed sheets. We want to look like real ghosts, don't we? Probably. You go get them! Ulyana announced imperiously. Where do you think I'm going to get them? Take them from your cabin, obviously. It wasn't that obvious to me. So, you don't want to? She instantly made a gloomy face. Okay. I recall the fact that there were spare sets of bed linen in Olga's wardrobe. So, maybe there was nothing to worry about. We approached the camp leader's cabin and I said to Ulyana, "Wait for me here. I'm going to say this because I don't think you'll fucking listen because you're a fucking snot-nosed brat. Wait here." "Sir, yes, sir." She rattled off and saluted me. It seemed Ulyana was entirely immersed in the game. I quickly found 2 clean white bed sheets. It's a shame they were going to get smudged. "Here, take it." I handed one of the bed sheets to her. "It's too large for me," Ulyana said after twirling it in her hands. No wonder, considering her height. "Give it to me." I folded the bedsheet in half and gave it back to her. "It's much better now. Follow me." She put the white cloth over her head and ran into the forest. "Wait!" I threw myself after her. Oh, yes. Just a few minutes later, we were near the pioneers' campfire, hiding behind the trees. Now it was clear that the trick, harmless at first, was taking an unpleasant twist. For some reason, I was sure from the start that the hike would end before Ulyana took any actions, and now we were standing 10 meters away from the pioneers, dressed in bed sheets. We didn't look frightening at all. Rather, we looked comical. "Get ready, on my command." Wait. Actually, I was joking when I was joking when we agreed to all this. Think again. It won't do any good. You'll get yourself put under house arrest until the end of the shift. And so will I. No retreat. No surrender. Are you ready? On the count of 3. I started scrolling through all the opposite outcomes in my head feverishly. There weren't many of them. First one, me and Ulyana run out from behind the trees and start the pioneers laughing, resulting in me getting a considerable scolding from the camp leader and possibly something even worse. And Ulyana is sentenced to the highest measure of punishment feasible under the laws of the pioneer camp. Second one, I stay here and observe with the others how Ulyana runs around the glade in a bedsheet. She is sentenced to the highest measure, like in the first option, and I stay in relative safety. Third one, I do everything possible to prevent her from committing this act of moral vandalism, and no one suffers but her self-esteem. It all could have gone so well, but either those thoughts took me more than 3 seconds, or Ulyana shortened the count, so I hadn't managed to pull myself together in time when she sprung out into the glade, screaming inhumanely. As expected, all the pioneers laughed loudly. Someone even fell from the log he was sitting on and started rolling on the ground. I tried to save the day and yelled as loud as possible so Ulyana would hear me, but not the others. "Fool, stop it! Come here!" I don't know whether it was my persuasion that worked or Ulyana understood that her performance had failed, but she ran into my direction quickly and without pausing hid herself in the forest. I didn't hesitate to follow her. Such a finale left a tiny chance that she won't be punished again. It's good that I didn't join in on that tragicomical act. Now I need to find Ulyana. Turned out to be not that hard as she hadn't managed to get that far. Ulyana was sitting on a tree stump, crying. I stood still, hesitating. Of course, such an outcome was to be expected, but now I had absolutely no idea what to do or how to comfort her. And besides, I'd gone back to the camp intentionally and I had agreed to participate in that show. But it just got worse. As well as that, I was tired. Tired unto death. At that moment, I wished it would all just cease to exist. I just wanted to close my eyes and appear elsewhere. Preferably in a quiet and peaceful place. But the sight of that sobbing Ulyana obliged me to take an action. I walked up to her and sat on the ground. "Well, what were you expecting anyway?" I began philosophically. It was sure to end up this way. "You're to blame for everything, you!" Ulyana shouted in tears. "So what would have changed if I'd sprung out with you back there? We both would have laughed at. We both would have been laughed at. That's all. You always act this way, always! Her sobbing was becoming louder and louder, and then she suddenly rushed at me and started pounding on my chest with her fists. The hits were not that hard. It was more like an attempt to take out the despair that had gripped Ulyana than a real wish to beat me up. Calm down already, I said firmly. She stopped crying for a second and then hugged me. Maybe nothing would have changed, but it would have been more comfortable for me if we went together. I didn't know what to say, so I just patted her in the head. Can I stay like this for a bit longer? Yes. At that time, she didn't seem like a dangerously explosive nuclear reactor in the form of a little girl, but just like a little sister of mine who'd messed things up. I wasn't mad at her at all. On the contrary, it seemed I too was beginning to care about the failure of the ghost play acting. It's alright. It is alright. We'll scare them properly next time. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man. Cue the FBI! FBI's not there. Okay, we're fine at the moment. I don't know how much longer we sat in silence. Ulyana stopped crying and I didn't want to disturb her as she had just calmed down. But I had absolutely no desire to stay in the forest overnight. Hey, let's get back to the camp. I shook her gently, but there was no answer. Ulyana had fallen asleep. Fuck me. Hey! I shook her harder. No effect. At that moment, I wanted to cry. Why does this always happen to me? Why do I always get why do I always get caught up in these foolish situations, always and everywhere? Even having suddenly appeared in a weird pioneer camp in the middle of nowhere, I don't get to become a subject in an experiment, a victim of a sick cosmic mind, or a participant in an intergalactic war on the side of a group of suicide-prone pacifists like a regular hero of science fiction. No, instead, I have to spend the night in the forest with a little girl in my arms who is muffled in a bedsheet. Next time, I'd rather have the monstrous experiments. I stood up and put the sleeping Ulyana on my back. Maybe there was a way to wake her up, but firstly, I didn't want to, and secondly, one more burden or one less. At that point, it made no difference. It's good that she's not heavy. At the square, I stopped, put Ulyana on a bench and threw myself down beside her, totally exhausted. Even a little girl is hard to carry for too long. The stars in the sky were shining brightly. Perhaps they gave their light not only to me in this camp, but also shine on the city where I was born, where my old home is. It was as if pain settled in my chest. I envisioned my old flat clearly, and a detestable burning started to make its way from my stomach to my throat. No, it was not wistfulness. More like a sad reminiscence, because despite all that's happened, I've felt more alive here than I have in the last few days. And now I really wasn't sure if I wanted to get back. Only one question still ate at me. How and why I ended up here. It flared up yet again in my mind. I haven't spent much time seeking answers, or even just thinking about my situation lately. My thoughts were occupied with everyday, routine affairs. Now, in order to break away and be able to wish to stay here for good, I need to understand the nature of this place. It's just that even a nightingale in a golden cage has a right to know how and by whose will he got in there. And after that, to make the choice whether or not to stay. I don't know how much longer I would have been devoted to existential thoughts, but Ulyana's loud snoring brought me back to reality. So small, but she snores so loudly. I was gonna do the, oh, there goes gravity joke again, but nah. I sighed, put Ulyana on my back again, and headed to her cabin. Isn't that sweet? I had no desire to explain everything to Alyssa, so I just put the sleeping Ulyana on the porch, knocked on the door, and left quickly. I am going to double check that I'm actually recording everything, because if I'm not, I'm going to feel like a massive dickhead. I am recording everything. Okay, that is good. That is very good to know. I approached Olga's cabin with mixed feelings. On the one hand, I had done what I intended to do. I had comforted and entertained Ulyana. On the other hand, the two crumpled bed sheets in my hands looked more like rags left over for some worn-out straitjacket. I opened the door softly and went in.
Semyon!
Olga was sitting at the desk and it seemed she had been waiting for me.
Do you want to explain something to me?
Well, just don't scold her again. It's my fault. Just like that, I became a hero, to my own surprise. My tongue acted faster than my thoughts. Perhaps some of my best traits, which even I wasn't aware of, have shown themselves. Humanity as opposed to common sense.
Really?
Having started this, I chose to stick to my decision! Well, it was me who got the bedsheets, and I was standing behind a tree back then.
Behind what tree?
The camp leader looked at me in astonishment.
So, what did you need bed sheets for?
I realized my mistake. So, you are not talking about the forest thing?
Semyon, I don't understand you. I wanted to know where you disappeared to so mysteriously during the hike, but now I would be interested in listening to your bedsheet story.
But it was impossible that she and all the others had seen Ulyana's performance. You idiot! You just dobbed yourself in. The pioneers laughing out loud couldn't have been my imagination. Olga, I'm serious. Did you see someone in a bed sheet spring out at you recently?
So, it was you.
She gave me a close look. No, it wasn't me. Couldn't she just tell from my height?
But you're holding the bed sheets.
Yeah? I couldn't understand if she was playing me for a fool or she really didn't know what this was all about. Olga, let's act like this conversation never happened. I'm too tired for today.
Alright, go to bed.
To my surprise, she readily agreed. Of course, I was astonished by such a reaction, but I decided to use the moment. I wrapped the blanket around myself and turned to face the wall. But I couldn't sleep. There were no thoughts in my head. My head was aching, but I still couldn't manage to fall asleep. I rolled to the other side and images of the day started to flash before my eyes. Shut my eyes tight to drive them away, but it didn't work. Suddenly I heard a knocking at the window. Olga seemed to be asleep. I dressed myself and walked outside. Ulyana was standing before me with a tricky smile.
How did you manage to carry me to the cabin? Wasn't it hard?
Not really. What have you come for? I couldn't sleep, but at that moment, bed seemed to be the only place where I could reside with no suffering, which is why Ulyana's sudden visit didn't please me at all.
How was she? Did you get scolded?
No, I avoided it somehow.
That's great then! I always get lucky!
That's for sure. My eyes began closing despite my will. Seems that slumber has finally come upon me. Look, I'm very, very tired.
This won't take long! Close your eyes!
It was the easiest thing to do, and I didn't even want to know what she needed it for, but maybe that way she would leave me alone sooner. I closed my eyes. Nah! FBI! FBI's coming for me! The FBI's coming! I know they're coming! I know the FBI is coming for me! I know it is! I know it is, man. I know it's coming for me. Fuck me. And in that moment, I felt a brief kiss. FBI's coming for me, I fucking bet you. My eyes opened themselves, but Ulyana was already running away, waving her hand to me. I stood still, benumbed, and I couldn't even manage to shout anything after her. I don't know for how long I stood like that, but eventually the night chill cleared my stupor. I shivered and went back to bed. This time I didn't want to sleep. I wanted to think it all through, but my eyes, which had begun to close as I was standing before Ulyana, seemed to issue a command to the rest of the body, and I fell asleep before I realized what happened. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ, man. Are you guys really into this? Jail is just a room, huh? Come on, man. Can't say that my morning was good. Instead, I woke up absolutely broken. Wait, why? The room was filled with bright sunlight. Birds chirping. I reluctantly dragged myself into a sitting position and stretched. I slowly started to recall the events of the previous day. A trip, silly ghost game, Ulyana falling asleep, and... Oh, you don't have to put it up again! A kiss from a 14-year-old girl. I blushed immediately. It was so surprising that I had been knocked out of reality for a while. The main problem is, how should I treat her now? First glance, nothing special had happened, but besides, she's the last girl in the whole camp from which one would expect such actions. She seemed to me at best to be a little sister, nothing more. But for her, apparently I was more than a big brother. Though perhaps I just imagined all that. There was no hidden meaning, deep motives, or allusions to far-reaching conclusions in this kiss. Just an expression of gratitude? Ulyana is definitely capable of extraordinary deeds, and could easily turn simple things into complicated ones. Finally, I decided to put off this matter till the time came I could meet her face to face. The clock showed 11, meaning Olga didn't wake me up for breakfast. However, I shouldn't worry. There wasn't much time left till lunch. I took my bag of washing accessories and went to do my water procedures. I didn't meet anybody on the way. Probably all the pioneers are busy with their own things. The place near the basins were deserted too. Just 5 minutes later, I again stood in front of the camp leader's cabin thinking of what to do next. Nothing worthwhile had having come to my head. I sat in the deck chair and possibly could have stayed there until lunch, but I was drawn from my trance by a familiar voice. Hey! I looked up and saw Slavia, who was smiling at me sweetly, and I forgot her voice. Hi.
You overslept again?
Seems like it.
That's no good.
Perhaps, and where are you going? Actually, I was not really interested in Slavia's agenda for today, but I wanted to keep the conversation going.
Well, I've got some things to do.
I see. Silence followed. She was about to leave when suddenly I said, mind sitting with me for a while? Wink wink, nudge nudge, we already went out, but that's fine, that's okay, hey hey.
Sure, why not?
Slavia sat nearby.
Something's worrying you, isn't it?
No, why would you think so?
I can read it on your face.
She laughed softly. Not really. Although probably Slavia was right. Something really was worrying me. Obviously, I was worried about last night's events. Listen, do you have any little brothers or sisters?
I do.
And how do you get along?
Pretty well.
She smiled widely.
And you?
No, I don't. I said after a short pause.
So why are you asking?
I don't know, just, do you always understand them?
I try to.
Sometimes I just cannot make out what children want. Suddenly I stopped for a moment. Slavia doesn't know that I'm actually much older than I look. To her, I'm still a child myself. Those who are younger.
Why?
Well, I cannot always understand the motivations of their actions. They often behave illogically.
When you're as old as them some time ago?
She looked at me with surprise. Of course I was. At that moment, it seemed to me that it had been a very long time ago. And when I looked at Ulyana, that time turned into a gulf of years.
Well, think of yourself at that time.
I was different. At least it seemed like that to me.
It's so good for you.
Slavia laughed again. And you? Did you also do stupid things?
It depends on what age we're talking about.
Well, let's say the age of 14, for instance.
Well, different things were happening,
she said thoughtfully. Okay, that's nice, but it still doesn't make anything clearer.
Maybe that's the way it should be.
Maybe. Slavia stood up, wished me goodbye, and left. Closed my eyes and fell asleep.
Oh, where's Snoozy Boy?
The sound of the bell calling the pioneers for lunch woke me up. Although the sound was quiet and was coming from far away, my body worked like a clockwork automaton, and in due time, I was standing near the door of the canteen. And that's where I met Ulyana. I'm not rooting for this relationship at all. God damn. Hey there! Yeah. I already ate. She laughed brightly and ran away. I didn't stop her. After all, I had nothing to say to her. Took a meal and was ready to what? I took a meal and was already heading to my favorite place in the corner when suddenly someone grabbed me by the hand. Sit down right here. Alyssa's voice sounded menacing, but at the same time somehow pleading. What happened? I've got something to discuss with you, she said with a slightly softer tone. Okay. I sat down next to her. So what's the subject? You were there yesterday, when she played that dumb prank with the bedsheet? It was a pointless lie to Alyssa. Yeah, I was there. That's... She laughed out loud. Why on earth did you do that? Alyssa instantly became serious and gave me a level look. Why don't you ask her? No, I'm asking you now. So, you have to talk. I don't know, I rasped. Or you better tell me, why didn't the camp leader react? How should she react? I think you know. Yeah, I made Alyssa and Ulyana's voice quite similar. I looked at her skeptically. Well, she just did not realize who it was. Well, I must admit, Olga's deductive abilities leave much to be desired. And then, it was you who brought her back last night. Nope, Shakespearean elves did that, I said mockingly. What's the problem with that? No problem at all. Alyssa stared at a plate and started to eat with concentration. Also, she ran off somewhere during the night and came back in that happy mood. And don't you know anything about that? Even if I do, why do you care? She gave me an intense gaze. Well, I do care. I would have never thought that she could be concerned about someone besides herself. Nothing like that happened, if you'd like to know. Nah, it's not about that, Alyssa replied shortly without looking at me. Probably it was a bad idea to bring up the subject. By the way, what's that like that? What do you mean? What you just said! What's that I just said? I tried to joke around and confuse her. Hey, listen to me, I'm watching you. Oh, I'm so scared, I said roughly, took my tray and left the table. Fuck, I can't remember how I did her voice exactly. I remember her soft voice that I did for her, but I don't remember her normal voice that I did for her. I definitely wasn't afraid of Alyssa's words, even though they sounded like a threat. In fact, I was more interested by her concern for Ulyana. Of all the local inhabitants, she was surely the last one you'd expect to worry about another person. I walked out of the canteen and into a real furnace. The sun blazed so ruthlessly that nobody could stay under his scorching rays. It was time to find some cool and shady place, and the beach seemed like the best place for this. Oddly enough, the beach was not crowded. Perhaps most of the pioneers were scared of the scorching heat, or maybe they just decided to take a nap after lunch. I didn't bring my swimming trunks, so I just sat under an umbrella and began to watch the swimmers. There was no one I knew, and it was better that way. Also, I had an opportunity to sit quietly and think. 5.5 days have already passed since my arrival, and what has changed? There are a couple of unexplained but completely harmless events, but all in all, it was just a regular pioneer camp. And this was making me even more frightened. What's going to happen next? Another day, another week, and what's going to happen after the session's over? I've got nowhere to return to. Maybe in this time, I hadn't been born yet. Or even worse. After thinking all this for a few minutes, I went back to yesterday evening. Strange, but I worried about it so much than before. I need a drink and you one. I gotta tell you guys, Mountain Dew? It's the good stuff. On the one hand, I wanted to say something to make the situation clear, but on the other hand, I avoided any meeting with Ulyana by all means. Afraid of making a fool of myself with the wrong word or gesture. I closed my eyes and dozed off for a while. When I woke up, I saw Lena by my side. How long have you been sitting there? I asked in surprise.
Not too long.
Strange that she did not wake me up, or freak me the fuck out. Did something happen? I don't know why, but my sixth sense was telling me that she's eager to say something, but doesn't dare.
No. What about you?
Neither.
Are you sure?
Of course. I smiled.
What do you want to talk about?
Why would you think I want to talk?
Seems like it.
Nah, not really. A long silence ensued. Do you have any little brothers or sisters? This! If he keeps on asking everyone if they have little brothers and sisters, don't you think it's gonna turn out bad?
No. What about you?
I don't.
So why would you ask that?
Sometimes I think that I don't understand children at all.
Me too.
Lena's face didn't express anything.
It's probably gotta be like that.
What do you mean? How should I treat them?
Treat them the way you think is right.
Well, that's the whole idea. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. Should I fuck a 14-year-old? Maybe! But, I mean, that's fucking weird, dog. Don't do that. Disclaimer, do not have sex with 14-year-olds. That is very bad, very pedophilic. Do not do it. It is not the whole age is just a number. This is British Xaphan coming out now, and he would like to tell you to not have sex with 14-year-olds. I repeat, do not have sex with 14-year-olds. Because if you have sex with a 14-year-old, you will most certainly go to jail and die there from the other inmates who will beat the living fucking shit out of you. Well, that's the whole idea. I don't know what is right and what is wrong.
The more you think about it, the more you'll regret the mistake.
Well, that's true, but it doesn't help. I was somewhat surprised by such profound words from Lena. Of course, she said all that with a trace of shyness or modesty, and without inappropriate openness, but still... You mean that I should follow the first idea I get off the top of my head? I laughed. Ah! 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 As the
Saying goes, your first thought is the right one.
Do you believe that?
I don't know.
We sat there for some time, then she stood up.
Well, I've gotta go.
Thanks for the conversation.
Don't mention it.
Lena smiled faintly. I lie down and stare at the burning sun. Your first thought is right, huh? What if my first thought was to kiss her? No! Bad! That is very bad. That is very, very bad. Do not do that. By the way, what was the first thought that came to me at that time? Tried painfully hard to remember, but nothing worked. Not even scraps of thought surfaced in my brain. However, in that situation, I could only follow Lena's advice since it all happened so suddenly. The sun was setting slowly, so I rose and went towards the canteen, as my stomach told me that even the participants in such a fantastic story should have regular meals. Somebody called me to the square. It was electronic. He ran up to me, caught his breath, and said, "Semyon, bro!" Yeah, that's probably me. Take it, bro. He handed me some kind of key. What's this? It's the key to our clubhouse, bro. And why do I want it? Olga asked me to, she said, exactly, give that Semyon, bro, the key, bro. Considering that I'll not be returning there today, bro. So give it to Shirk. He has his own business, brah. So take it yourself. I can't, brah. Why not? Listen, just take it, brah. Why would I need it? What am I going to do with it? You'll give it back to me later, brah. Listen. Well, I have to go, brah. See you later, brah. He shoved the key into my hand and ran. No matter how you look at it, he's definitely strange. However, I didn't pay significant attention to this event and just put the key in my pocket. I got to the canteen even before dinner. Fortunately, it was already open, but no food was being served. I took my favorite seat in the farthest corner and concentrated on playing with the toothpick. Soon I got a feeling that someone was standing next to me. I raised my eyes and spotted Olga. We just stared at each other for some time. Do you need something? Finally, I broke the silence.
You know, Semyon. Sure, I understand everything, but...
What? I asked, surprised.
Did you think I didn't notice your absence last night?
Absence is quite an overstatement. I'd rather say I just went out for a moment.
Well, so what?
What's the matter?
I thought that it was nothing too, but I was determined to check.
Semyon's a pedophile.
I said Semyon's a pedophile. The camp leader's expression was increasingly heading towards a frown. So, have you checked? I still couldn't understand what she was up to.
Yeah, I checked. And you know what? For a true pioneer, it's just unacceptable. It's shameful. It's disgraceful, especially with her.
She flushed red with exertion. She is pissed!
I don't even want to hear your pitiful excuses.
A vague idea of what she was talking about dawned on me. So what happened? Would you care to explain?
And now you've got your nerve to play innocent. You! With Ulyana.
That became crystal clear. I've got two things to tell you. First, I started to get steamed up. Nothing of that sort happened there. And I'm the last one who has any relation to this situation.
And you think that...
Second, I rudely interrupted her. Who told you that? In fact, the answer was obvious. Ulyana would not do that. And if she had decided to once again play a trick on me, she would have done it much earlier. From the time spent here, I'd begun to understand her well. And that leaves only one possible candidate.
Why does it matter?
Oh no, it does.
Would you care to explain your behavior then?
Olga seemed to be a little taken aback by my vehemence. You know, I like to think about this. I'm arguing with myself here. I'm playing a character who is arguing with another character who I am also playing. That is awesome. There is nothing to explain. I quickly got up and headed toward the exit of the canteen.
Semyon, wait.
I heard the camp leader's weak prattle behind me. If you act decisively with her, then she's not that confident. So now I have to get things straight with Alyssa. While her pranks hadn't concerned me, or only concerned me indirectly, I could bear it. Just thinking about it, I'd even started to consider her not such a bad person. I met Slavia at the square. Do you know where Alyssa is?
Yes, I do. What's the matter?
Just tell me. My words sounded obviously rough, but it seems that she didn't pay it any attention.
She's at the music club.
Oh! Shit's getting steamy! Slavia was right behind me and I met Alyssa near the music club. However, she was accompanied by Miku. Mind explaining yourself? I didn't waste my time on pleasantries.
No. What makes you think so?
Alyssa gave me a cute smile.
Oh, Semyon, hi! How nice that you're here too. Maybe the three of us can play something of a new song, and you know, it's so funny. I'm sure you'll like it, I promise. Or we can choose something old.
Miku interrupted the conversation. Could you?
What?
She looked at me with the smile of an uncomprehending child. From that moment, I understood what exactly she had in her mind. Little rabbits, teddy bears, pussycats, but no sign of intelligence. I need to talk to Alyssa. I said in a tone that brooked no disagreement.
Okay, maybe later.
It looked like she was upset. though I didn't care. So?
I don't understand what you mean.
Alyssa said, offended.
In any way, I have to go.
That was sort of her voice there. She turned around and got ready to leave. Try to stop her verbally! Hey, not so fast. She stopped and turned to me. I'm not here to kill you. My words sounded like a joke, but Alyssa flinched. Who told the camp leader that Ulyana came to me at night?
I don't know.
She pleaded piteously. We discussed it this morning, didn't we? She said nothing, but continued to look at me with fear in her eyes. And most importantly, what's the purpose of telling 1,000 lies?
I really don't know what you're talking about.
Her eyes filled with tears. Suddenly I felt as if I had been struck by lightning. What if she isn't guilty? Why did I immediately think of her? Anyone else could have easily seen us at night. You never know, even Ulyana herself could tell anyone. Are you sure? I asked her harshly.
Yes.
I thought for a second, and this time was just enough for Alyssa to escape. Now the only true solution is to talk to Olga again. I found her on the canteen porch. By that time, the sun had nearly disappeared behind the horizon.
You came back after all.
She began. Olga, could you tell me honestly, who told you about it? I've just spoken to Alyssa. It's not her. Ulyana wouldn't do it herself, so who? In fact, I myself didn't realize why I needed to know this. Initially, I was just mad at Alyssa, but now...
Well,
she hesitated.
Some strange girl. But this still doesn't...
A strange girl?
Well, yes, not from our camp, it seemed.
Why did she tell you about this?
How should I know?
Olga, but this is... I took a deep breath and turned away. Just why does she have to obviously lie? Although maybe she's trying to protect somebody. Let's say... Damn, I can't even imagine. Alright. I said quietly and walked briskly away from the canteen. I had absolutely no desire to continue listening to Olga's stupid lies. Or our so-called camp leader. I walked aimlessly, completely lost in thought.
Are you on guard duty?
I heard a cheerful voice from behind. It was Ulyana. Nothing special, just, seems like there was no chance of finding out who Olga's informer was, and yesterday's incident was hushed up somehow, so I decided not to think about it.
What do you have planned for the evening?
Nothing, I guess. After all my friend attempts to uncover the truth, I felt some inexplicable guilt before Alyssa and Ulyana. What exactly the guilt before Ulyana was about was completely unclear, though.
Then I have a suggestion.
What is it?
I brought a video cassette from home.
Her eyes flashed conspiratorially. I said that word right! I can't believe I did that! And? I couldn't even remember when was the last time I had watched or heard something recorded on cassette was.
With a cool movie on it.
Where would we get a VCR here? This road came to me from the past, and I decided to test whether my guesses about which time period I had been placed in were right.
At the Cybernetics Club, of course.
There's nothing special. There's nothing there, I said confidently.
What about in the back room?
She was right. Could be there. Well, maybe. But anyway, it's too late and everything's closed. The strange feeling of guilt I felt in front of Ulyana wasn't giving me a chance to refuse immediately.
We can get in there through the window.
She grinned mischievously. Well, you know.
Maybe you're right. We should get a key.
Mused Ulyana. But I had one. In my pocket. I just remembered about it. Now that you mention it, yes. I've got a key. Next time I better think before I speak.
That's good. Then I'll quickly run to get the tape. You wait here and I'll be right back.
She disappeared before I could even open my mouth. It's strange that she wasn't surprised that the key to the Cybernetics Club mysteriously happened to be in my pocket at the right place and time. But in any case, I have to decide what to do next. The most right and logical thing would be to not go anywhere with her, but my guilt got to me. Though it seems to me that there could be nothing criminal in watching a movie with her. But on the other hand, with Ulyana, even the most with Ulyana, even the most harmless things can turn into a three-ring circus. At the very least. I was already starting to forget about what had happened this evening, but about my frantic attempts to get the truth from Melissa and Olga. In just a couple of minutes, she returned.
Having second thoughts?
I looked at Ulyana and felt a bit uncomfortable.
Are we going?
Listen, you know your ideas are, let's say, not entirely safe. And in the end, everything will end badly again.
Are you scared?
No, I'm not. I'm just a grown man, and I'm not interested in such games.
Grown man?
She laughed. Indeed, I forgot that I look 17 at most.
What makes you think so?
It's really hard to accept, but I had nothing to say to that. Thinking about it, the whole time I spent here, did not display any particular forethought, nor life experience, nor cold, balanced assessment of the situation. Though the other question is, did I ever show those in that life? And in fact, even if I think, I'll recall some examples, of course, but okay, let's go. Jesus Christ, I was so offended by Ulyana's words that I asked, what is a grown man in your opinion?
One who is responsible for his actions, one who does not do anything without thinking about the consequences, a person who is capable of taking good care of not only himself but also of others.
And all that doesn't describe you, that's for sure. I tried to laugh it off.
I'm not pretending to be like that anyway,
grinned Ulyana. Yeah, she was absolutely right. I do not possess any of those qualities, but I always thought that not being 17 is all that's required. It seems that, in general, there is no difference between me and other people. And if I wish I could be exactly like they are, is that all wrong? In fact, no, because in this camp, I tried to behave in the most logical, sensible, and proper way. Like an adult. I am the adult man. But if even Ulyana says differently, then how can I get out of here? I don't know, maybe. We went in. It took some time for Ulyana to find the light switch.
Presto!
Well done, bravo. I exaggeratedly clapped my hands.
Hey, stop making fun of me!
She pouted. Okay, what's next?
Here!
Ulyana went to the door to the second room, hesitated for a moment, and pushed it open. There wasn't much space inside. Seems more like a room. This room was used for storage. Boxes piled on top of each other had formed some sort of Alps in miniature. Various devices scattered here and there reminded me of the chaotic brainstorm raging in a head of scientists. Bookshelves on the far wall made it clear that this was not a simple storage for unused junk. To my right, there was a TV with a video player sitting next to it. Interestingly, they were not Soviet. I bet they were Japanese. At least going by their appearance. Well, I mean, we do have to thank the Japanese for a lot. Not surprising. In those days, or more accurately for me, these days, imports already existed.
What did I tell you?
Ulyana smiled triumphantly. Yeah.
Have you seen anything like that before?
I have. Perhaps I've got a VCR too. Probably it's lying somewhere on the mezzanine in my house.
Seems like you're not surprised at all.
Why should I be surprised?
A Japanese TV set? A video player? You look like you often see such things.
Huh. Not too often lately. I agreed. Lazily.
You are so gloomy. Nevertheless. Okay, take it.
She handed me a cassette. I turned it over in my hands, but I did not find any sticker or labels on it. So what's on it?
I don't know exactly,
mused Ulyana.
But I'm sure it's something very interesting.
It better not be porn. Soon the logo of a well-known American film company appeared on the screen.
Here, watch!
Ulyana even started fidgeting impatiently. I'm watching. A few minutes later, I realized that the contained a famous film from the 80s. It was about a robot from the future sent to kill someone in the past. So in the years in between, a hero wouldn't be born. Terminator. Interesting coincidence. You could say I was sent from the future too. So what, my mission is to kill someone from among the local residents? I could not help laughing. What's so funny? Ulyana looked at me reproachfully. Oh, nothing. Seems as if you don't like the movie. The movie's alright. I've seen it several times. How can that be? Her eyes widened in surprise. Well, my friend gave me a cassette. Ulyana stared intently at me. Anyway, keep watching. I pointed at the screen. When the film was about halfway through, I heard someone trying to open the front door. It said that when a person has one of their senses weakened, the others are amplified. I was quite blind, but I could hear perfectly. Lights off, I whispered. What? Turn off the lights. Ulyana realized that this wasn't the time to argue with me and rushed to the switch. Meanwhile, I pressed the pause button. I heard footsteps in the other room and saw a flashlight flickering under the door. I wonder who decided to sneak into the cybernetics club at night. Ho 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 ho. They're not here. It was a voice of Olga. Soon the front door slammed shut and I sighed with relief. See that? Again, that's because of you. What? Ulyana stared at me in surprise. Why else would she come here at night? She's definitely searching for us. Alyssa likely doesn't care about your absence, but I'm registered at the camp leader's cabin. She thought for a while. Well, so what? So what? Why are you constantly looking for trouble? It's almost as if you like it. It's more fun this way. Is it fun when you are constantly scolded and punished? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. She laughed merrily. Eventually, there are also rules. Well, up until now, you have evaded serious consequences, but who knows what could happen next? It could all end badly. You grumble like a granny, she said, offended. Who said recently that I could not be called an adult? Forget it, let's finish the movie. I decided not to argue with her. In the end, we are already on Olga's list. And an hour later, an hour earlier, does it really matter? At each scary scene, Ulyana jumped, screamed, and grabbed me by the hand. I was not so keen on film, but still pretended that I was also interested. Apart from the evil robot, there was a good man sent from the future to prevent his evil deeds. Maybe I'm not here with the goal of becoming a ruthless killing machine, but on the contrary, to change or prevent something? To prevent some event, for example, or to stop someone from some wrongdoing? The analogy is fairly interesting, but it's not based on any real facts. I don't have a shotgun in my hands, I'm not wearing a leather jacket, and I haven't got a motorcycle to ride. I don't even have sunglasses. Look, look! The next chase with shooting and the destruction of various types of wheeled and propelled vehicles was unfolding on the screen. Do you think the good guy will win? Of course, I knew the answer. Obviously! Good always triumphs, she said seriously. If we consider that Ulyana often succeeds in her silly ventures, the meaning of the word good gets seriously twisted. Wait, but you've already watched it. Yeah, just wanted to know your opinion. Soon the film came to an end. During the final scenes, Ulyana ran around their room trying to get a better view of everything happening on the screen without missing anything. Huh! She gasped with relief when the ending credits started. Liked it? You need to ask? Of course! That's good. And I can see you didn't really. She squinted slyly. Well, it's a film for kids after all. Ah, really? Well, yeah. So what? Nothing. She yawned and sat on the floor with her back against a pile of boxes. It's probably time to go to sleep. I'm tired and I won't go anywhere. As you wish. I better go then. Hey, wait! Ulyana immediately jumped up and grabbed me by the hand. Will you leave me here all alone? Well, if you want, should I carry you to your cabin? I said uncertainly. In the end, I was already experienced at that. No, I want to sleep here. She rummaged in the box next to her and pulled out some sort of blankets and pillows. Again, the same story. I sighed. Just think, Olga is already looking for us. If we spend all night here... Well, firstly, she's looking for you. That has nothing to do with me, laughed Ulyana. Even if that's so, then you'll be caught too. What makes you say that?
And even if I do get caught, that's okay, I'm used to it.
Why are you so stubborn? It's only a couple of 100 meters to your cabin. As well as that, you couldn't say that Ulyana was completely exhausted.
I'm so tired.
She wrapped herself in a blanket, turned away from me, and began to diligently fake loud snores. Okay then, see you tomorrow. I tried to leave, but Ulyana grabbed my hand again. Well, now what? She didn't say anything, looked up as if I'd scared her. Right then. What I should do was completely unclear. A little cassette adventure was idiotic from the beginning, but now it was beyond my comprehension. I had no idea what the logic behind her actions was, what the meaning and motivation was. However, despite all this, I couldn't firmly say no. Something stopped me, maybe a sense of duty or pity or the patience which must be shown when communicating with children. Okay, what do you want from me?
Go to sleep with me.
Seems like I've seen it somewhere already. Well, let's assume... I turned off all the lights and nestled beside her. Good thing it was summertime, otherwise sleeping on the wooden floor would not be the best idea. Lack of mattress is not even worth mentioning.
Why did you agree so easily?
I could hear her resentment in her voice. You asked, so I did. In fact, I was completely convinced that Ulyana will fall asleep quickly as always, and I'll carry her to her cabin. Basically, it's a good plan despite the fact that I'll again serve as a beast of burden.
Hey, talk to me.
Just sleep, you're the one who wanted to.
Just talk.
About what?
Tell me something interesting about yourself. Funny stories from your life.
My life is not that action-packed.
Nothing to recall at all?
Even if I had something, telling her was not the best idea. Nothing at all. Sorry, kiddo.
Can't be that bad.
I turned to Ulyana. She was lying with her eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. It can. Trust me.
That's so boring.
From time to time. She was silent for a while and then smiled and said,
But here you had fun.
Oh, that's true. I laughed.
Will you remember this camp?
First, I need to get out of here. Of course I will.
And the others?
I will.
And me?
And you. I said it all with an absolutely even tone, and to be honest, without really thinking about the meaning of her questions.
And I will,
whispered Ulyana. Immediately I felt her head dropping on my chest and her hand wrapping around my neck. Comfortable?
Yeah,
she murmured. You haven't found a better place? She shook her head slightly. Well, let her lie like that. In the end, maybe she'll fall asleep faster. Probably no more than 5 minutes passed before I decided to check on her and lightly tugged on her shoulder.
What?
She asked without looking up. I noticed an unusual note in her voice. Why aren't you sleeping?
Look who's talking.
Time was passing treacherously slow. I decided to wait at least another 10 minutes before the next time I checked. The seconds seemed to be hours. My eyes began to slowly close. I struggled to stay awake. I blinked for a moment and woke up, only to realize that my state was close to unconsciousness. Maybe just close your eyes for a minute? What's so terrible about that? The thought flashed through my mind, my head, and immediately I drifted off. To sleep! This is gonna look really bad. Like very, very bad. Very bad indeed. Day 7. There are probably worse things in my life. In life than falling asleep while being cuddled by a little girl. Now the door opens and our men leap towards us. Can't make out what they're screaming, but their intentions are clearly far from good. Nah, I'm not scared at all. Rather, I'm embarrassed or even ashamed. When I opened my eyes, it took me some time to realize where exactly I was. It was dark in here, only a dim light was gleaming under the door. Why do they make storage rooms without windows? Although obviously, that's why it should be, but why on earth would anyone bring a TV set and a VCR in here then? I cursed the architects of this building in my mind and shook Ulyana by her shoulders. Come on, get up now. She stretched, and as we were lying together, I could see her sleepy eyes even in the dark.
Well, let me sleep.
Ulyana tried to turn away, but I firmly grabbed her shoulder with my hand. I don't know what time it is, but regardless, it would be smart for us to get out of here.
And now, later.
She whispered, half asleep. I said, wake up, come on. I jumped up and easily pulled her to her feet. Moaned Ulyana with frustration in her voice. I started to look for the light switch, but then suddenly heard footsteps outside the door. My heart sank. Why so early, brah? We have a truckload of work to do, brah. No time to waste. You know that we have to do it all before the departure. Alright, fine, brah. It looks like our two amped up cybernetics are paying a visit to the clubhouse before the break of dawn today. Shh. I whispered to Ulyana. And what's the... She didn't manage to finish her sentence as I silenced her with my hand. Well, I understand all that, but we might at least have waited until after breakfast, brah. Oh, do you have something else to do, brah? Not really, brah. Just chat things, brah. I heard some hesitation in Electronic's voice. Sure, you don't want to head off to the library bright and early again, brah. Hadn't the slightest intention, brah. He replied fretfully. Oh yeah, sure, if you say so, brah. Soon the work kicked off behind the door. I could hear hammer strikes, machines rattling, and Electronics buzzing. Electronic and Shirk were discussing their own matters, so I wasn't paying much attention. I was more interested in knowing when they'll finally leave the building. Rather soon, breakfast time is coming. But if we take Shirk's passion into consideration... Let go of me! Ulyana finally wrestled her way up, but didn't raise her voice after all. Why can't we just leave? She asked under her breath. What do you think? It's all fine. Well, what's the problem? Well, we spent the whole night here. Together. And it's obvious what they'd assumed considering I'd taken the precaution of closing the door. So? What do you mean, so? I tiredly sighed. Just trust me. I know that it doesn't matter to you, but it does to me with hiccups. Okay, fine, we'll keep hiding here. Agreed. Ulyana resentfully. I was prepared to wait for a long time if necessary, but barely a couple of minutes later, the front door opened and somebody came in.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, brah. Morning, brah. It was Slavia.
I just wanted to ask if you happen to have any sticky tape.
We do somewhere, brah, replied Shirk thoughtfully. Take a look in the back room, brah. His words gave me goosebumps and I grabbed the door handle in a stranglehold. Slavia approached the door from the opposite side and tried to pull it open, but I was straining against the door with all my strength.
It's locked.
It can't be, brah. We never locked that room, brah. Let me try, brah. Sure, I yanked the door handle, but nothing happened, although it took a lot of effort for me to hold it steady. Oh, it's stuck, brah. Give me a hand here, brah. In a few moments, they were trying to open the door together with Electronic. I grasped the handle as if my whole life was depending on it. But regardless, this was a short struggle. My hands quickly gave out and I let go. Oh god. The door slammed open and bright sunlight blinded me so I couldn't see the startled faces of Shirk, Electronic, and Slavia for the first few seconds. Good morning, brah. And sis. Morning. Ulyana was standing behind me so that I couldn't see her, but I could feel the embarrassment in her voice. What are you doing here, brah? Asked Shirk, almost as if he wasn't surprised. Well, to tell you the truth, we were watching a movie, Ulyana brought a tape, and you have a VCR here. Shirk distrustfully stared into the depths of the back room. I gave Ulyana a nudge in the side, she got the message and displayed the tape. And what's that movie, brah? A barely visible grin crossed Electronic's face. Just a regular film, a thriller, the latest thriller. Then I imagined what he and the others were thinking right now and I was overwhelmed with rage. If you think nothing like that! That's all her fault. And this is the last one. The last option for the bad ending of Ulyana. I pointed my finger to Ulyana. She looked at me strictly in turn.
Nobody's accusing you of anything,
said Slavia without looking at me. At least there's one sensible person among all present here.
Yet.
God! She added under her breath, "This is just hilarious to me now." What?
Everything was exactly as he told you.
Ulyana joined the conversation.
We were just watching a film, then I felt sleepy. It was so late.
We didn't think of anything, brah. Just a stupid situation. Come on, enough, brah. We're trying to put it off with a jest.
I think Olga will be the judge here.
Slavia said in a cool voice. Hey, wait. Why take this to the camp leader?
Who else?
Maybe. But you see, we're telling the truth.
I'm not the one to judge.
Damn it, then who? You've seen everything with your own eyes.
That's for the camp leader to decide.
Slavia said quietly and turned to go. Just wait. I appeared before the door in a single bound and blocked her way. Listen.
This is none of my business.
Slavia was trying to avoid my gaze. It seemed like she's also uncomfortable about the situation.
I'm just obligated to...
Whom are you obligated to? Why do you need to do this?
Because...
She was unable to find the words to finish. So you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to tell anyone anything.
No,
she said nervously, but then raised her head and gave me an intense gaze.
I'm sorry, Semyon. Just leave her. Let her go.
I turned my head to Ulyana. This fraction of a second was enough for Slavia to slip out of the clubhouse. Wait. Just wait. I yelled at her as she ran, but it had no effect. Pursuing Slavia in a futile attempt to prevent her from going to the camp leader made no sense. If she intends to, I can't exactly tie her up.
She can't prove anything anyway,
Ulyana chuckled. Who cares whether she can prove anything or not? Don't you understand your position in all this? In any situation, you're involved in your guilt is a foregone conclusion. Moreover, in a case like this,
well, we are responsible together then.
She smirked trickily. Exactly. I left the building, sat on the stairs. Now I'm gonna double check if my camera's still running because it's running on battery. I left the building and sat on the stairs. Well, brah, we will be on your side just in case, right, Shurk? I think so, brah. I don't clearly understand what happened here, but presumably nothing that worrying, brah. Okay, we're going for breakfast, brah. Oh! Thank God! They are true bras right now. But that being said,
Semyon shouldn't be hanging out with a little fucking girl now, should he?
Soon we lost sight of them.
Let's go and eat as well,
Ulyana said cheerfully. Food is all you think about. Why bother crying? What will it change? She's right about that, at least. We just have to wait for the camp leader's decision. Let's just go. We headed to the canteen. All the camp had gathered for breakfast, except Olga and Slavia. Might be for the best, I guess.
What are you thinking about?
Ulyana asked me cheerfully when we took our food and sat. The same thing.
Come on, stop worrying about nothing.
Maybe it's nothing for you. Well, really, what was particularly bad about that? Every situation can be interpreted from different angles. And especially if you have a reason.
That's because Semyon is now a dirty pedophile. Because I know he got them feelings for Ulyana, but them feelings wrong, yo. I don't know how to feel about me going through this.
Come on, what's the worst that can happen? I can go to prison. You know, a camp leader, she's a bit eccentric.
Well, maybe so. But we didn't do anything like that. Anything at all.
I hope she believes that too. My relationship with Ulyana had improved dramatically lately. At first I only saw her as a naughty, ill-mannered child, but now I started to see the good sides of her character. Although, there weren't too many. And now, just when everything was starting to work out, a hard conversation with the camp leader loomed ahead, gloomy in the distance. It was a storm and a raindrop. Maybe I just dreamt everything that happened, and Slavia's reaction this morning was just caused by surprise. Ho ho! Ho ho! Ho ho! Ho ho!
Enjoying your meal?
Ulyana was hanging over me. She looked at me menacingly.
Yes! Would you mind explaining your behavior?
Mind explaining what?
Well, for example, how you happen to be in the Cybernetics Club utility room. Where did you get the key? What were you even doing there?
I recalled the circumstances in which I had obtained the cursed key. I should speak to Electronic about that. If Slavia told you our version,
We were watching a film!
Ulyana claimed seriously.
The whole night?
The camp leader asked sarcastically. Stop being sarcastic!
Then I just fell asleep and Semyon stayed with me. And so there was no chance for you two to go to your cabins. Not even a tiny one. What are you going to say?
Well, it sounds really stupid, but she's right.
You expect me to believe that?
Well, it's the truth.
I can't really accuse you of anything.
The camp leader started slowly.
But on the other hand, the entire situation is beyond normal. Pioneers must not behave this way. And there are too many inconsistencies in your story.
We get it, I agreed fatalistically.
I will do the following. Ulyana, you are on detention. You'll be confined to your cabin, and I will decide what to do with you later.
I looked at Ulyana attentively. Contrary to my expectations, she didn't look upset.
Clearly, I do not think this is your fault. But to be fair... Great! You know where to find me in case you need me!
She stood up instantly and headed to the exit. Olga didn't try to stop her.
Sorry, but my camera battery died. Yay! Good stuff. Camera battery died. Camera battery died. Yay.
So the things that we missed, I don't think it was much. I think it was about yeah, so just from there's always too much trouble with her and she got you into all this. I don't really get what she got me into. You seem to be too harsh on her.
Show me another pioneer like that.
The camp leader laughed. When she receives detentions for misbehaving, that's another story, but here?
Actually, I don't really understand what was indeed going on. But my duty is to look after your moral character, and this situation is suspicious. Highly suspicious.
How long are you going to keep her imprisoned?
I don't know.
Olga pondered for some time.
Today is the departure. But in these circumstances...
What? What departure? I jumped at the word.
The term is ending today. This is the last day.
What? It was the only response I could squeeze out. Last day meaning... I'll finally be able to leave this damn camp! Maybe it's time for my suffering to end. And I'll get back to my ordinary reality? But why so suddenly?
Sudden for who? I talked about it in the lineup.
She has a point. At the lineups, I was usually sleeping or looking around and didn't really listen to the announcements. And what time?
About 5 o'clock. Don't forget to get ready.
I hardly have anything to pack. She stood up, took a tray, and was going to leave. So what's going to happen to Ulyana?
I don't know yet. I told you.
She will probably leave later. How's that not with everyone?
Well, yes.
Is that normal? I was truly surprised.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know about wrong, but it's quite strange for sure.
Well, I still have work to do.
Ooh, spooky scary. I dug aimlessly at my porridge, which had gone cold long ago. Departure. The possibility of getting out of here. But on the other hand, Ulyana. I myself felt guilty before her. In the end, she was penalized while I, at the same time, wasn't. That's not fair. It's not like I wanted her to share her misery, but I don't think that it's fair that she sits there locked up. Well, there is still some time before leaving. It should be quite enough to make the decision quite clear. First, I decided to talk with Slavia. I hope she's calmed down. I'd gotten used to finding Slavia at the square, so I went there without any doubts.
Why exactly there? Because in this camp, I predominantly met her there. But there wasn't a single soul near Genda's haven. I stood there for a while, looking at the monument, and then headed to the library. Makes sense that Xenia could know where her neighbor is right now. After knocking at the door, recalling my previous experience, this was not a usual mannerism. I went in. Xenia distracted herself from her book and looked closely at me. What do you want? What's wrong? Why do you react like that? Can't even come in? What, you came here for no reason? I doubt you'll want to read anything. Well, no. Classics of Marxist-Leninism weren't my favorite literature. I wanted to know where Slavia is. What do you want to know? She said that as if she was sure that the conversation is over, and thus she has proceeded with her reading. Well, since I'm asking, clearly I need to know. Should be on the pier. Xenia answered indifferently. Thanks. Learning what I wanted to know, I hurried out of the stronghold of malice. Yes, Xenia has a tough spirit. At least, I have issues understanding her. On the pier are some pioneers who are pulling boats into the docks, while others are running around with oars or ropes. After looking closely, I noticed Slavia, set quite far away, near the water. Cleaning up, I asked the most neutral question that came to mind. Yep, she answered without turning. Listen, I... Want to talk about Ulyana? Well, yeah. Honestly speaking, I had no idea what to talk about. Slavia found us in the storage room, got it wrong, and told everything to the camp leader. Now it's not her concern anymore if you think about it. On the other hand, it would be a waste of time to talk to Olga now. Maybe I should just subconsciously wanted to understand Slavia's reasoning, to be able to resolve her somehow. So what did you want to say? Well, Ulyana got punished. Maybe she won't even leave with us. No wonder. I just want to explain to you that nothing special happened there. Frankly speaking, I don't know. I just had to report everything. So you did. Did it leave anyone better off? I mumbled to myself. Of course. I'm not sure that it was right. She said confusedly, well, what's done is done. Do you think it's possible to get Ulyana freed from house arrest? You're worrying about her so much. Slavia finally looked at me and smiled. Not about her. About justice! While I was a bit confused, I found the right answer. Well, you know our camp leader. I do, that's for sure. Just wait, she'll calm down eventually. Yes, I guess that was the best decision. Yes. Oh, yeah, you're right. I stood near her in silence for some time. Slavia didn't seem eager to keep on talking. Still, there was some sense of incompleteness. But faced with the idea of this uncomfortable situation lasting for several hours, I decided not to be a burden. Okay, I'll go then. Bye! See you. She smiled. In the middle of the square, I stopped to think. There's still a lot of time till the departure, and I have nothing to do. Just yesterday, I was stuck here forever and had lots of time. Even though there was actually very little, I felt the need to think and act faster. But now that I've got only 5 hours left till I leave this camp forever, I've not the slightest idea on how to spend them. I decided to visit Ulyana. After all, even if she isn't allowed to leave her cabin, that doesn't mean I cannot pay her a visit. I knocked gently. You're not welcome here! An angry voice sounded from behind the door. Pulled on the handle and entered. Hail, prisoner! Oh, it's you, Ulyana said disappointedly. And what, am I the one who isn't welcome here? I tried to smile. Why did you come? Well, I thought that you'd be bored here all alone. I'm fine. Where's Alyssa? As you can see, not here. Come on, why are you so angry? In the morning, you were in such a better mood. Angry? Me? Not me, that's for sure. You have nothing else to do, so you came here, right? Yeah, my bad. I sighed theoretically and hung my head. Well, sit down then. I sat on the opposite bed. So, tell me something. Let's come up with a way to prove to Olga that we did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong,
Ulyana corrected me.
You seem to have nothing to do with it.
Okay, let it be.
But why?
A tricky question. It feels like we've swapped our roles. I was suggesting a stupid plan while she was a voice of reason. Well, because we did nothing wrong.
What's the matter with you anyhow? I'll just stay grounded for a couple of hours and that's it. We have to depart soon anyway.
She flopped down on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Well, sure, but I tried hard to cheer her up, but looks like I haven't succeeded so far. Want to do something, maybe?
It's lunchtime already.
I took a glance at my watch. Yeah, right.
Here's a job for you. Since I mustn't go out, go and bring me something to eat.
Sir, yes, sir. I saluted her and hurried out of the cabin. Recently, I started to think that finally something has clicked in Ulyana's mind. Maybe the punishment had affected her, or possibly it was something else. My attitude towards her has changed. Her wrongdoings used to make me feel nothing but irritation, but now there was also understanding and sort of a sympathy. After all, I used to be a child too. Perhaps if one explained to her what is right and what is not, she might be able to avoid many mistakes. In the canteen, I had an argument with the cook who refused to give me a double serving. However, everyone in camp already knew about Ulyana being grounded, so eventually my powers of persuasion won out over dietary standards. Soon I was sitting at Ulyana's cabin, tucking away meatballs with potatoes. Just like a last meal.
What are you talking about?
Well, every death row prisoner has a right to make a last wish. Thus, my last wish is a lunch like this. To my surprise, the food was really delicious. What would your wish be?
Well, to not be executed, of course.
She laughed. You can't.
Why? If you can wish for anything.
Well, you can, but within certain limits.
That means it's not anything.
Well, okay, it's not anything.
Then it's not interesting.
Well, I believe being a death row prisoner is hardly meant to be interesting in the first place. I grinned through my teeth.
I wouldn't know. I never went through that experience.
But if you think about it, that's almost my situation. This camp is my cell. For several more hours, I'll stay under arrest and then I'll face uncertainty, just like I would after death. The only difference is that I had more options. If I wanted to attend lineup, then I'd do so. If not, then I didn't. What are you going to do next?
What do you mean?
Well, after the camp. She looked at me in surprise.
Back to school, of course.
Yes, only for me leaving this place is kind of like crossing a barrier, frontier, the end of something and the beginning of something else. When I talk a lot, I yawn. I don't know why. I just found that out over the last few episodes. A week ago, it was terribly hard for me to realize that I'd been pulled out of my usual world and brought to God knows where. But then I got used to it, and here we go again. Basically, the only difference is that now I face not a sense of fear and horror, but a blunt, sinking feeling of uncertainty.
And you?
I'll find something to do.
Something?
She burst into peals of laughter. Yeah, what's the matter?
You should have gone to a circus school to be a clown.
Why?
One can't help laughing when looking at you.
But why?
You always act like some kind of a martyr, a new messiah for all the Russians.
Well, there was quite a bit of truth in her words. I have my reasons. I mumbled and turned to face the window.
What reasons?
Various reasons.
Why are you so curious?
Oh, why are you so curious?
Have you forgotten that I'm a child?
She grinned archly. Well, half an hour with you is like a terrible torture for me.
Look who's talking, you're just one really nasty-tempered person.
What makes you think so?
You're always deep in soul-searching, trying to find out something and analyzing everyone around you.
I was about to say analyzing. I gave Ulyana an amazed look. I'll never have experienced such a little girl to be capable of such mature judgment. And?
That's it. At the very least, I know how to behave myself, and I don't end up grounded. It's a matter of chance. She grinned. Yeah, sure. If last night... She stopped short. Last night what? Nothing. No. Finish what you started. She just opened her mouth when steps were heard behind the door, and a second later, Olga entered the room. This is not looking good for you, Sonia. Just leave it where it is. Ah, there you are. That's even better. She seemed confused and lost for words. Well, I reconsidered this morning's incident. It's not like it became much clearer, but it doesn't look like a big deal. So, Ulyana, you're officially not grounded anymore. And if only you did that right from the start, I muttered. Did you say something?
Nope, nothing.
Departure is coming. Time to pack your stuff.
Saying that, she left the cabin.
Now you see how it all turned out.
Yeah, I sighed. Are you going to pack?
Yeah, I guess so. And you?
Yeah, I'm going to pack my stuff too. She didn't reply, so I left the cabin. Fuck me, I need another drink! Oh yeah, that is the good stuff, my dudes. Oh man. Well, it looks like my last mission in this camp is complete. Ulyana's sentence was overturned after all. The only thing left for me is to leave this place and get ready for something new. I swept my eyes around the room as I entered the camp leader's cabin. Do I have anything to pack anyway? I stuffed my winter clothes into a bag and took a seat on the bed. I was haunted by agonizing feeling of incompleteness, either deja vu or a feeling that I forgot something. But still, can't remember what it was exactly. When all is said and done, I haven't managed to find any answers here. And now I'll have to continue my quest elsewhere. Does it really matter how and why I came here if it's not possible to escape? And it seemed that nothing's up to me anyway. Everything seemed simpler before. Sure, I had no major prospects. My perspectives were hardly mind-blowing, but at least everything was pretty much clear. Yet, the week I've spent here raised more issues than my whole previous life. The clock struck 5 o'clock. I took the bag and walked quickly to the bus stop, worried they might leave without me. It appeared that the bus was already waiting there, as were all the pioneers.
Everyone's here? Began Olga. You're leaving our camp today and I'd like to tell you something in parting.
She was visibly nervous and lost for words.
I hope that you remember time you spent here for a lifetime, and that you retain only pleasant memories about Xaphan.
Ulyana isn't there.
I also hope that you became at least a little better, managed to learn something, and found new friends. Just come back next year.
The camp leader turned around. It seemed that she was trying to hold back her tears. I didn't expect her to get so emotional. Although her speech sounded like complete nonsense, as usual. The pioneers slowly started to get on the bus, and I needed another drink. I ran an eye over the crowd looking for Ulyana. Where is Ulyana?
She won't be going.
The leader answered shortly. How? Why?
She's grounded.
But you said...
She's at it again.
What do you mean?
Hey, get inside or they'll leave without you. Indeed, I was the last man standing outside.
Wait a second.
Move it!
She nudged me onto the bus. I decided not to argue. Here at the end, I can't be held responsible for her forever. Here we go again. If she's going to be stubborn, then it's up to her to face the consequences. I took the last seat. There was no partner for me, which I was fine with at that moment. However, soon enough, Alyssa moved to sit next to me.
Where's Ulyana?
Stayed.
Why?
Grounded. I gave one-word replies, showing no interest in the conversation.
Why?
I don't know.
And what? You haven't even tried to find out?
Is it worth staying back for?
You should!
For what? If you want, you can stay. We haven't gone far.
Yeah.
She said calmly and went off to her place.
Slavia and Xenia were sitting in the front seats and talking with enthusiasm about something. Lena, Miku, Shirk, Electronic were sitting closer to me and playing cards. Alyssa and some other girl were looking through a magazine. Probably, I was the only one who had nothing much to do. Caught myself thinking I still felt a bit guilty about what happened to Ulyana. But what could I do? If I'd stayed together with her, I would have probably missed my only chance to leave. And in my position, playing such games could prove fatal. Apart from that, enough is enough. Yet, still, I couldn't stop thinking about her. That I'm at fault. That I've acted cowardly, done a bad thing. That anyone in my shoes would have. But why? Anyway, who is she to me that I need to take risks for her sake? It was even harder to answer this question. During the week I spent here, I got to know her and others quite well. In the end, I felt responsible for Ulyana in some way. But what's the point of thinking about it now? I'm leaving this pioneer camp. I'm heading into the unknown. Starting from this moment, I have to make all my decisions based on the assumption that this world is alien to me and, most probably, hostile. That I have no one to rely on. Although thinking about it, such state of affairs isn't too new for me. I was always alone in the past. No, now it's not time. Savyanak has been left far behind me. Night has fallen on the strange world. It was so dark that it seemed the bus was floating across a bluish-black ocean. And only sometimes would gloomy forests and fields reaching to the horizon rise like waves from its surface. Anyway, surroundings were the least of my concerns right now. I was knee-deep in my reflection. Feels to me like I've left some unfinished business back at the camp. Even though I can't go back there now. Bad things, good things, everything will be forgotten soon. Practically speaking, it's nothing fancy, just an 80s pioneer camp that I had been beamed to from my own time. In any case, I'd rather worry about what's waiting for me at that town we're heading for. After all, I've got nowhere to return to. I've no home, no money, no friends or relatives. All these pioneers that I'll part ways with in a few hours. I won't see any of them ever again. And them, I don't think that they'll remember me in a couple of years. It's not a big deal for them. To them, I'm not the time traveler, but a common boy. Their peer. The road seemed endless. Most of the pioneers were long asleep, yet I was still fighting the urge to take a nap. It's always better to enter the unknown while remaining awake. Though, the unknown always has an edge in this battle, a flow of time that it is able to control as it sees fit. You wait a minute, an hour, but nothing happens. Your nerves, already strung out to their limits, finally surrender to the stress and you just fall asleep. So, day ... What happens? Feel like I hadn't slept at all. It happens all the time. You just close your eyes and fall asleep. The hour hand makes several turns. The morning comes and you wake up, but it feels like you just blinked. Oh, fuck me, I feel that too well. I yawned so wide that I almost broke my jaw and jumped up because of the pain. Something was wrong. Oh, not something. Everything was wrong. I was back in my apartment. But how can that be possible? I began to panic and started running around my room in the hope of calming myself down. Physical tiredness can often overcome an emotional one. My head was empty, fear and terror took over my whole being. Some kind of song was floating in my mind. Maybe a prayer, or maybe just an incoherent jumble of thoughts designed, if not to calm me down, then at least to distract me from my panic. It was about half an hour before I collapsed on the floor, exhausted, and fixed my eyes on the ceiling. It seems like I had not gone anywhere. The old chandelier looked down at me unkindly with its dusty lamps. The cracks in the plaster were in the same places, and the unstuck wallpaper hadn't slipped down even a little. Was it really a dream? But it can't be. It just can't be. I spent an entire week in that pioneer camp. I was definitely there. I remember everything perfectly, from my awakening aboard the bus up to the departure. Neither dreams nor hallucinations can be that real. Somehow I stood up, went to the kitchen, filled a glass of water, and returned to the room. The blood was still hammering in my temples, but at least the terror of the first few minutes was gone. I feel like I've read this before, or had just taken a break. No, I haven't. I concentrated on the last thing I remembered. It was the departure from the camp. The night, the bus bouncing over the bumps, the dirty, murky glass beyond which almost nothing was visible, and the pioneers. I've been absolutely positive that I would never return, or just didn't think about it. Anyway, I was prepared for our arrival at the district center in a few hours and was already considering options for my further actions. Or not. Damn it! I roared and pulled out my hair with all my strength. I can't remember! The last hours in that world merged into a monotonous mirage, as if a drunken Renoir was completing his painting with a roller instead of a brush. It's not that bad. Wait a minute, why would it be bad? On the contrary, everything's fine. I'd say even perfect. I've broken free from the goddamn world and returned home. The most important thing now is to not end up there again. It might happen, surely it could. But it might not happen as well. Indeed, I have nothing to worry about now. Everything will be fine. Obviously, I was just seeing things. Exactly, I was seeing things. It doesn't matter how everything felt that real. It doesn't matter that everything felt that real. Something like that just can't happen. It can't. I claim with all due confidence that it just can't. Modern science claims it's impossible. Not allowed. I laughed loudly. An inner voice tried to stop the verbal diarrhea spouting from my mouth, but it didn't succeed. Feels like my speech and thoughts are separating to exist on their own, independent from each other. My brain prompted me to calm down and try to analyze the situation, while my tongue simply tried to ease the stress by throwing new meaningless words out into the air. Finally, I was somehow able to pull myself together. I pulled open the curtains and looked out the window. Night City looked exactly the same as it did a week ago. The view brought my mind back to reality, at least to some extent. After all, if everything is now normal, and nothing suspicious or supernatural is happening, then wasn't it just a dream? Essentially, there are two options now. I can't agree that it was just a dream and calm down, or I can trust my own feelings and accept that the camp, the bus, and the pioneers were real. Either way, whatever I choose, I won't get any answers. It's funny. I was looking for these answers for a whole week, or at least pretending to. Found nothing. But I broke free from that weird world anywhere, and what now? I keep on pointing my mouth away from the microphone so you guys can't hear me properly. The enigma remains and additional questions have surfaced. In the end, I was exhausted and fell onto the bed. In a few seconds, I was snoring blissfully. Is that it? Ah. Much time has passed from the moment I came back from Savyanak, and a lot has changed in my life. First week, I was racking my brains trying to summarize in detail everything that had happened, creating graphs and diagrams, writing to forums discussing paranormal phenomena. I even planned to visit a psychic. In the end, it resulted in nothing. Just as one would expect. It's no wonder. I was just a human being, but these events obviously were the affair of a supreme mind. If a caveman found himself in the early 21st century, even he would understand more than me. Well, at first, you would think that a cell phone that transmits someone's speech dozens of kilometers away by the will of God is a miracle. But no one can get used to it. Maybe if he completed secondary and higher technical education, he would even be able to understand how mobile communications work. It's a basic, exaggerated example, but just as unreal as everything I experienced. Unlikely to ever understand how it worked or who was behind it. And I doubt that I could get used to it if it were to happen again. But one question troubled me ever since. Why? Why me? What did I, or did I not, do to deserve this bad or good luck? Sure, in sci-fi novels, wonders often occur to quite ordinary people, but that was just a matter of chance. But I was absolutely positive that these events have occurred for some reason, just like a random sci-fi hero who traveled 1,000 years forward in time, leaving him in the wrong time and place. But in the future, no one knew him. Everyone thought that he was just a madman. But in my situation, they were expecting me at the camp. At least, the camp leader was. How should I respond to that? Maybe I was picked out at random to be studied later on? Even so, the question why not only still stands, but rather becomes even more important. After not finding any sufficient explanation, I returned to my usual existence. But now I wasn't just sitting at the computer 24/7 wiping the F5 button free of dust. New interests came into my life, but they were, I couldn't tell myself. And suddenly I wanted to get a high education. Not to find a job, and not because it's necessary, just because I remember how much fun I'd had during the first year of education. Chatting with course mates, days of light-hearted youthful fun, plenty of energy that I'd lacked so much over the last few years. Truly great man once said, any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. It's hard to argue with that logic. An ordinary man will not sit around because he is lazy, but because a given subject is just of no interest to him. For instance, I'm not interested in knitting, so does it mean that I'm a slacker if I don't make a couple of woolen sweaters per month? Feeling too lazy to open a book, that's something I can understand. Although I like reading, when I start thinking that I have to get through a huge novel page by page, and even if it is interesting, even if it absorbs me so completely that I can't turn away, that part will only come later. For now, all I need is to get a book from a shelf and open it, but I feel too lazy. I don't know what exactly influenced me, but about half of my time, instead of the 5 to 10% of it from before, I was occupied with something useful. I read, wrote, studied something new, and engaged in sports. At least I exercised in the morning. Sometimes I thought that it was the influence of the camp. One can't rule out that possibility. For all 7 days there, I was participating in social activities, verbal communication with others in amounts that before would have caused terror and severe introversion in me. On the other hand, it's not so easy to change one's personality in a single week, especially for someone as stubborn as me. But it is easy to point them in a new direction, show them a guiding line. However, I'd never believed that it would be possible without me. Anyway, I enjoyed these changes so much that I tried not to think about their causes. What the hell? Nobody would worry about the why if he managed to hit the jackpot by betting his last pair of trousers. In summer, I re-enrolled at the university and studies started in autumn. Time passed and I eagerly attended lectures and seminars and studied for tests and examinations with a level of enthusiasm that I wouldn't have expected from myself. I managed to become part of the group with surprising ease. Although I was older than most of the students, it didn't trouble me. Maybe it's because of my natural immaturity or changes in my personality. I didn't know for sure. Most likely the answer is somewhere in the middle. The joy of communicating with people lost many years ago returned. It was easy to get along with others. Their problems didn't seem so distant and trivial to me. Normal life, which before I had considered just a gray, depressing mess, started to shine with new colors. Sometimes it seems to me that I had turned into a doll. Became one of a billion identical tin soldiers standing in the straight rows on a shelf in the toy shop. But in this shop, apart from the glowing showcase that sparkled with fancy writing describing new season's offers and Christmas discounts, was a storage where all the defective products were thrown. A teddy bear without a paw, a firefighter's truck in need of a mechanic, transformer who looked more like a microwave than a mighty robot, jigsaw puzzles which assembled into trippy postmodernist pictures. My place used to be among these broken toys. And while some of them could take refuge in charity drives or an orphanage, my only fate was being dumped and recycled again. So I couldn't help enjoying such changes in my life. It was the last session of the hardest subject this term. Most of the students didn't like it, because of its difficulty and the hard-to-understand teacher, I suppose. But I found a kind of pleasure in dealing with tables, graphs, and diagrams. Counting on the figures by pieces, I arranged them in columns and lines in the right order, summing up, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying, and using them to get a precise picture of any event. No number could avoid my attentive gaze. All of them could be captured, calculated, analyzed. Each of them would get an index number and a place in their proper cell. After its arrival, every digit will be assigned a bunk, work uniform, and off-duty clothes, and will be sent to perform its designated task. Some will be digging a trench from 9 to 5, some will march off to face the trends, and some will be trying to hit a linear regression on the shooting range.
What are you thinking about?
Reluctantly, I stopped writing and gazed at my classmate, taking notes on the lecture, as you can see.
Oh, just screw it! Just read the workbook afterwards.
I'll read the workbook as well.
I'm always astonished by you.
What's so astonishing?
You're planning to gain a first-class diploma, aren't you?
Never thought of it.
Don't tell me you really find it interesting.
I remember that just a moment ago I'd imagined myself emblazoned on a banner borne aloft by a regiment of digits and couldn't help smiling.
You won't even need all this stuff.
Everything will be needed, at least for a general development. The classmate grinned sarcastically. I bet you never even read a single book in your whole life.
So what?
He asked challengingly, just stating a fact.
And you were always somewhere up in the clouds.
He was right about that. Although I'd regained part of my lost social skills, I often slipped out of touch with reality, dreaming of something else. You say it like it's a bad thing.
There's nothing wrong with not reading books either.
Human beings can't have only material needs, I said philosophically, mocking him.
Oh, you're such a downer. Yawn.
You're a fucking downer. Fuck you. The lecture was approaching its end and I began to plan out the rest of the day. Need to buy some groceries and later finish a project and send it to the client. And then I got to write down notes. And then in the evening, I can just read or watch something. Unless someone phones or writes to me. There are no urgent matters, so I can spare some time from my mates.
Oh, 5 whole minutes to go.
I looked at my phone and realized that it is exactly a year after I returned from the Ulyana pioneer camp. My soul felt warmer from such thoughts, and I smiled blissfully. It's not often anymore that I can recall those events. Obviously, one can't just forget something like that. Those moments of something bizarre and extraordinary that are engraved in my memory forever. Normally, even the happiest moments fade and just reminiscence of them remain. Nothing more, but the week spent in Xaphan was different. I remembered everything in perfect detail. The terror of the first minutes after waking up on the bus, the first day, hard, full of surprises and amazing acquaintances, cheerful and carefree pranks with Ulyana. Just take that trick with the ghost for instance. The best Soviet comedians would envy it. And the pioneers had such expressions. They were dying laughing. It would sure be nice to meet Ulyana in real life. Well, she's not always perfect, she's hyperactive, and she doesn't have any idea about good manners, but one doesn't meet such a sincere, carelessly cheerful and energetic person very often. Maybe she gave some of that energy to me. It makes the fact that she had to stay behind even sadder. Of course, it's just a dream, a figment of my imagination. Although you can still worry about the book and film characters. One laughs and cries with them and feels their pain. Same thing for me. It seems that if I had acted differently, the story would have had an even more joyful, happy ending. However, I'm sure that Ulyana is happy in that world. I just can't imagine her being upset for longer than 5 minutes. Her optimism will help her to find a way, even in the most difficult situations. I wonder what she will look like when she grows up.
The bell rang, my classmates stood up and looked at me keenly. Okay, see ya. Can I crib notes from you later? If you had been writing down your own during the lecture, you wouldn't need any. So can I? Okay, fine. Cheers! He smiled and left the lecture hall. And I stayed behind. Slowly I packed all my exercise books and textbooks up in my backpack and looked around the empty hall. For a moment, I could almost smell the knowledge in the air, like sea salt in the air on the deck of a ship. Thousands and thousands of students came here to study, to learn something new, or to forget something they used to know. Some slept through the lectures, some wrote them down attentively, just like me, but nobody was completely different. Those who didn't care stayed home, pulled the curtains across the windows, and fixed their eyes on a monitor. I sighed reluctantly and left the lecture hall with the firm intention of not wasting this day. Is that it? Okay, well, I mean, that wasn't so much a bad ending. That was pretty alright, to be honest. Like, I mean... My friend just messaged me. Can I make thick and you're warm? If you guys have ever watched Big Mouth. Okay, so that was the ending. That was the ending of the bad ending. Now it's time for the good ending, my dudes. So, when something is different, I will be back. Okay, so that's all my fault. This is the only thing that's different. Nobody's accusing you of anything yet. And all that junk. Okay, so how much will change? Not a lot. It's not like I've got much to pack. Indeed, it was the truth. Care to help me then? Okay, sure, why not? She started to pull our clothes out of the cabinets and stack them on her bed. Watch it, you'll mess everything up. It's okay, I'll wash them at home. T-shirts, skirts, shorts, dresses, shoes, trainers, underwear, the pile of clothes was growing and growing. You really brought all this stuff here, all on your own? Considering Ulyana's constitution, it was hard to believe. Yes, of course. She laughed. Come on, give me a hand. We started to pack up the clothes into a big bag. I tried to pack things carefully at first, but after realizing that's pointless, resorted to just stuffing everything in to make it all fit. At last, there were no more clothes on the bed, and we even somehow managed to zip up the bag. So that's it? Yeah. I looked at the clock. It was about 40 minutes till departure time. You know, it was fun. Meaning? Well, the last week was fun. Yeah, I said absent-mindedly. Don't you think so? Why? It sounded sort of insincere to me. Well, I must admit that I'm not exactly walking on air. Yeah. But what didn't you like? It's not like I can spit out everything at once. You see, a few moments were, how can I put it, a little unexpected. Well, you're so boring, said Ulyana and turned away from me. Well, what did you expect from me? You sound like you got absolutely nothing to remember later. Yeah, there sure is plenty to remember. I gleamed. Yep, that's what I'm saying. She looked closely at me. That made me a bit uncomfortable. What now? And me? Will you remember me? Sure, I will. Everyone. Everyone? And you. You most of all. I saluted, springing up to attention with my hand over my heart. That's better. However, do I really have something to remember about her? Yeah, we had a lot of adventures, but who is Ulyana for me? Just a nosy kid from another reality. On second thoughts, do I really care that much about my situation now? From the very first moment I appeared here, everything changed tremendously. So right now, I was just curious what's going to happen next. Sure, the unknown is not the most pleasant perspective, but I must admit that it's a breathtaking one. Whether I'll return to my world or not is not up to me anymore. It means that I don't really have any choice. I have to adapt to the local living conditions. And one of these conditions was sitting right in front of me, smiling broadly. You know, you're not as silly as I first thought. Why do you think that I'm silly in the first place? She said in an offended tone. Just kidding. You and your jokes. Alright, it's time. Let's go, Ulyana said happily and pointed at the bag. Yeah. I shouldered her belongings. The weight almost made me bend in half.
I was thankful for the fact that the bus stop was just a few hundred meters away. I shoved her stuff onto the bus and then hurried to get my own humble luggage. After some time, all the pioneers were here.
Everyone is here.
Began Olga, you're leaving our camp today, blah blah blah. Little better, we've already read this. Come back next year. Turned away, she was holding back her tears. Completely agree with everything she said. Perhaps it was the first time that her words haven't just passed by my ears. And we're on the bus. Soon enough, everyone boarded the bus. I took the last seat next to Ulyana. First row was taken by Slavia, Xenia, then a little closer to us, Lena, Miku, and Shurk. Alyssa slouched in her seat alone 2 rows from us. There was no partner from her. Oh, that's the only different one. Turned out a bit embarrassing for you, neighbor.
It's fine, you helped me to get ready and brought my stuff here.
I looked at her closely. It seemed this little demon had changed her attitude towards me in a radical way. Could it be that I'm a friend to her? An odd word that seemed to have lost its meaning for me ages ago. I can't recall any of my acquaintances, but when I still had them, who would I call friends? Maybe even back when I was at school. And now someone considers me a friend? Anyway, what does it all mean to me? I always felt more comfortable thinking about abstract stuff, distant perspectives, and global matters than of simple, ordinary issues. And indeed, during all the time I've spent in this camp, I've managed to become close friends with Ulyana. She awakened these long-forgotten feelings in me, because this is what it means to be buddies or friends. I smiled and tousled her hair gently. That's pedophilic!
What's that for?
She puffed her lips. Just because.
Pervert! Will you marry me when I grow up?
No. Jail time. No.
Sure. I'll hold you to that.
Okie dokie.
Let's go join them at cards.
Why not? I bet he's gonna see her in real life, and she's gonna be like,
so you ready to marry me?
We gathered around the suitcase that was being used as a table. Soon Alyssa joined us. I was laughing a lot, cracking jokes, and just enjoying being in a state one usually calls happiness. A simple happiness here and now. Right now, this bunch of pioneers that I managed to befriend in this short week were a million times more important to me than finding out how I came into this world and how to get out of here. In the end, should I even bother trying to get back? It was getting dark. The game was long over and the pioneers had returned to their seats. I had no idea how long it would take to get to the district center, but it seemed like an eternity. From beyond the bus windows, only pitch darkness was looking back at me, almost consuming the entire world, compressing to only the size of the Icarus cabin. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I was enjoying the moment. It seems that this reality is completely normal. And does it really matter how I got here if the things turned out this great? I became another person and met new friends.
What are you thinking about?
About life.
And how's it going?
Just awesome. Ulyana laughed quietly. I don't have a place to return to, so if I choose any life path I want, yes, we will part ways soon, and I'll probably never see most of them again, but we'll stay friends forever. A pleasant warmth flowed through my body. I felt like a kid again. Ulyana put her head on my shoulder and quickly fell asleep. Sometimes you may feel tired not only because of the hard work or sad feelings, but also because of fun, joy, and happiness. You may probably even want to continue, but have no energy too, with your soul demanding time to rest and your body asking for calm. I fell asleep with a smile on my face. And then... day ... Is this going to be different? I feel like I hadn't slept at all. Anything different? Bell rang, my classmates stood up, said his goodbyes, and left. I started packing my exercise books and textbooks into my backpack when I suddenly heard someone's voice in front of me.
Excuse me, is this the 34th lecture hall?
There's a sign on the door.
No, there's not.
The girl's voice sounded offended. Someone must have removed it.
So, is it the 34th?
Yeah. At last, I closed the backpack, raised my head, and intending to stand up. Okay, thank fuck, she's all grown up. Huh, that would have been bad. The girl looked
terribly familiar. Haven't we?
Yes, I thought the same.
She looked very surprised, but I don't remember where I could have met you.
Neither do I.
What year are you in?
First year.
I was still pretty much green. The girl smiled.
Everything is still ahead of me.
As if I'm already past everything.
And what about you?
Fourth.
So, is it difficult to study?
For the first year it is.
I knew it!
She said in an upset manner. But it gets easier with time. It's always easier when you get used to it.
Sometimes I'm too lazy to do things.
Yeah, that also happens.
Do you still have any stuff from the first year? If you share it, it'll be easier for me to prepare for my examinations.
Obviously I had nothing. My first year was finished a long time ago, but I suddenly felt a strong desire to ask for a phone number, so I lied. Yeah, maybe, but I'll have to check.
That's great!
We exchanged our telephone numbers. My name is Semyon. What should I call you?
Ulyana.
And then I realized who this girl reminded me of. Exactly, she's Ulyana. She's around 5 years older. For a moment, I was lost for words.
What? It's an ordinary name. That was Lenin's name.
She said, pouting. No, just... Have you ever been to a pioneer camp?
When I was a kid? Why are you asking?
In the blink of an eye, all the events that happened in Xaphan flashed in front of my eyes. So it wasn't a dream.
Although they were just summer camps, not pioneer ones.
Ulyana added. So you weren't wearing a uniform?
The one with the red neckerchief? Of course not. Fashion police alert.
She laughed loudly.
But why are you asking?
I was about to tell her everything, but then realized that she would just consider me a psycho. After all, this girl was much older than the Ulyana I remembered. Maybe she just looks like her. I had a dream, and I think I saw you there. Kind of deja vu.
Deja what?
It's when one sees something for the first time but believes that he's seen it before.
Well, now that you mention it,
her face became serious.
I think I've seen you somewhere as well. Definitely. Maybe it's that thing you just said.
An interesting coincidence, don't you think?
I don't know. Anyway, I'll give you a call. See ya!
She laughed and ran out of the room. Appearance, behavior, way of talking, she's definitely that exact Ulyana. So, does that mean the dream is coming true? I can't help but enjoy it. And above all, I'll see this forever cheerful girl again for sure. Okay, well, that ended with a non-pedophilic ending, which is really good. Yeah, Attack on Pedo Bear! Oh man, okay, well that was Ulyana's ending. So, I guess everyone, remember to like, subscribe, comment, click on that notification button, and I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video where we do Miku's ending. Bye bye!